tree's been in my way for 5 years. Guys, I've been sick with the summertime flu. Me and the wife, Judy, she's got it too. Like 10 days now, I've been sick as a dog. Can't hardly breathe. Figured I'd come down here and do a little update. So I guess it was July the 1st, the opening day of treble hook season. I put in at Gaston and fished under the bridge. The river was super low. It was like 23 to 2,500, and I did catch a couple stripers, but man, they didn't even qualify as a schoolie. They were extremely small. I think a schoolie, he starts about 20 inches, you know, and that's the way I look at it. These were under, slightly under, maybe 18 inches. So about 5 days later, I come down here, same time in the morning, 5:30 a.m. I put in here. The river was the same. It was around 23 to 2,500. And I caught a couple on the other side over there. In the whitewater, in the rapids, and they were the same size. If you go back and look at my channel, I started in 2019. Very seldom would you even catch a schoolie, a 20-inch fish. Just about all of them were 25 to 35 inches long. 2020, that's the way I've got my channel set up, is in years, starting in 2019 up to present day. So you can go back and look at the size of the fish that I caught in 2020, 2021, 2022, in the spring, in the summer, and in the fall. And you can tell that there ain't no baby fish, all right? They were all 20, 25, 35, and maybe 40. So what's going on with the stripers here at the Rockfish Capital of the World? It reminds me of coming here in the 1980s. And in the 1980s, I would put in at Gaston and float the 7 miles to here to Weldon, and you wouldn't catch but 1 or 2 on top water, but they were big. They were nice sized stripers for top water baits. So what's the future of the stripers on the Roanoke River? It's hard to say. Like I said, there has been years when they drop off to little or nothing. You wouldn't catch many. And then there were years when, you know, I would catch a lot of fish, and they were all big fish, you know, fishing the gas line and the bowl hole and the paper mill bridge and pipeline bridge. Those places were gold. And there weren't no baby fish that, you know, that I'd catch. There just won't any. Or if they're there, they just ain't gonna hit. But so far this year, and I'm not the only one saying this, just this past spring, there weren't as many charter boats here. And the charter boats didn't hang around very long. I mean, they fished April and May, and that was it. They usually hang around, you know, till early June, but it seems like the charter boats didn't stick around long. I guess they moved on to salt water. But it's hard to say. Today it's 104, 105 degrees. You can see there's a storm front moving in. It rained last night. That's why the river looks kind of stained. River's at 6,500 today, which is pretty good. I think you could catch a few today. I just don't know how big they'd be. Top water only. When it's super hot, like it is today, I'm not going to subject any stripers to this type of temperature. It's bad enough when the water gets hot, but when the air temperature, you know, is 105 degrees, that does put the fish in jeopardy, and I'd rather not, you know, get in that situation. But don't get me wrong. When I filmed here this spring, like I do, I catch the guys on the rocks here catching fish, and I film. I saw some photos of some big fish. So don't get me wrong, they ain't all tiny fish. But the last time I was here filming, guys were holding them up so I could see the fish, and they would grab the fish by the, hold them up like this, sideways with one hand. I mean, don't get me wrong, small fish is better than no fish, but this year, it seems like the majority of the fish I've seen caught here at Weldon were small, smaller than usual. I'll know a lot more the next time they drop the water to around 2,500. I'm gonna put in at Gaston, and I'm gonna float, and I'm gonna hit some deep holes, even though the river's low. And if I don't catch any big fish in those deep holes, well, it just ain't any. Or ain't as many as it used to be. Hopefully, they'll bounce back. I mean, nobody kept any fish this year, you know, because it was illegal. You would think that would be enough to help, especially when they stop saltwater people from keeping the fish in the Albemarle Sound. But so far this year, I ain't caught many fish that were over 25 inches. And a lot of them were a lot smaller than that, like 20s and 18s. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. And like I said, in the next week or so, I'm probably going to put in at Gaston and float down. If they'll drop the river down, we're going to try some top water action, and we'll see. I'll know then. I'll know then whether there's any big fish left in here or not. So yeah, this is bad news. I'll throw a clip in where you can see me struggling to cut down a tree that's been in my way for a long time. You hear me gasping for air, that's because I got the daggum pneumonia. So anyway, stay tuned, and we'll see what happens.